Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining me now here for the 7th time on A1R Psychic Radio and Moonstrike TV. And I am just super excited to be back and super excited as we are looking forward to this show. So thank you very much for being here. We are live. Today is Tuesday. It is the 23rd of February. So it's just awesome to be back, awesome to be here. Now, before we start our today's conversation with our guest, I'm just letting you know that as I'm talking to you live, I'm able to read your questions. If you would like to have any question today on Facebook, and what I have in front of me is the A1R Psychic Radio's main Facebook page. So I'm able to read your question if you have any. So that's absolutely beautiful. I'd like to acknowledge the producing team, the producing everybody behind the screen to be able to bring us together and creating this show. And I'd really like to acknowledge you, the listener and the viewer who turns up week after week, and then you have your questions, and then you are engaging in your conversation and everything what we are bringing here for you. So thank you for being here. Now, before we move on, just one more thing. The March is coming up on my timeline, and I'm continuing with my Thursday evening intuition and psychic development workshop series, and I'm also doing a demonstration of mediumship event on the 12th of March, which is a Friday for us. So you can find all the information on my web page, and you can find the link under my name here, Zsuzsanna Medium, and also all the social media pages. And it's so easy to remember because it's always Zsuzsanna Medium, and it has 9 letters. It's ZSU, ZSA, and A Medium. So just so amazing. As I said a few times on this show, that the conversation what we are bringing here is never really about a personal conversation. And that's why I'm just super excited to welcome our guest, the very first guest on this show. So let me just introduce you, Stephanie J. King. Stephanie, thank you very much for being here.
Oh, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm so excited.
Absolutely, just a joy to have you here. Now, for our audience, I'm just going to tell you, Stephanie is an author, a healer, a teacher, a therapist, and also a trance medium, a direct voice to source. So you are going to talk about your work as we go along in the show. So I tell you what, we spoke about a few ideas, what we are going to cover or what we are going to talk here. But what I'm really drawn to was one of your books, your latest book, which is The Grave Doubts. The Grave Doubts. And I tell you what, I find it absolutely fascinating. And from this point on, I'm going to stop talking because I'd like you to tell us about the story, because it says one man's incredible afterlife testimony, which is a story of your husband who passed quite early when he was, I think, 54 and quite suddenly, and then exactly what was happening afterwards. So, Stephanie, I give the words to you.
Well, thank you for that introduction. The thing is, where do I begin? So the readers don't automatically know it's my husband. It's not something I advertise straight off. But my husband, he didn't believe in my work. I woke up while I was with him, and if we speak about his life, he was a very intelligent person, a very intelligent businessman. He turned his life around from his youth. He had a very difficult youth, and he became very successful. But he was a very grounded person, always giving. He would give the shirt off his back. Great sense of humor, a joker. And nothing passed him. Nothing passed his attention. And that's why he found the work that I came upon, because I had my awakening about 35 years ago. He found it very difficult to accept, because if you're a man and you're on top of your game and you believe that nothing goes past you, to be told that perhaps there's something that you're missing is quite difficult to swallow. And Simon was that person. He was more scientifically minded, very grounded. He fell out with God a long time ago. He lost his mother when he was fairly young, and his mother prayed to God all the time. He had some other instances in his life where he kind of fell out with God, simple as that. So in a way, God even took me away from him, because I would go up and down the country doing my work at weekends. I wrote the books, all very time consuming. And we can talk about my own journey a bit later. But God kind of even took me away from him to a certain point. So he was very cross with God. So to believe that there was something else was very difficult for him to swallow. Anyway, he was a joker, lived a full life. And he went to bed one night and then died in the middle of the night. I managed to just get the light switch on. I spoke with him just a second before I reached the light when I realized something was happening. But by the time I turned the light on, he was gone. Really unexpected.
Wow. And then I'll tell you what, how you were describing him, it immediately, or very, very, very thoroughly, very delicately at the same time, came through the words, how he's speaking. And then actually, when I started reading the book, I told you, about halfway through, I was really feeling, even afterwards, I was really feeling that I'm talking and I'm listening to a real person, and I really got the energy, his energy, what he was like, or what he liked, and what he enjoyed, and then the opinions he had. And then I feel it's so important to mention the word how we have the opinion, and now I'm just generalizing, how we could have the opinion, because then how he starts reflecting immediately after he passes. That way of being, how he viewed the world, and he viewed everybody and himself, just immediately takes on a very different turn, And then I really noticed, when how he is describing his own journey, I really felt that he was going through different stages, that immediately asking that, I'm wondering what is happening, and then I'm angry, and I'm confused. I don't know what is happening. Am I going to be here for as long as I need to be? So there are all the questions. And then it was actually quite fascinating to read when he says, yes, I never believed in spiritual work. I never believed in the journey of the soul. And finally, right now, I am here. And then I just suddenly I need to understand.
Well, this book comes in on many levels. It comes in on the male level, like Simon, a male who is on top of their game, a male who doesn't understand or won't understand spiritual things. Simon believed that if there was a God, then God would know he was a good person. But you see, you also have to remember that this happened out of the blue. So because death is the biggest illusion that we will ever believe in, he was still alive. So what does he do that? Because all of a sudden he's thinking, well, hang on a minute, all the things that I've shouted against for many years are real. So now what do I do with that? So for Simon, there was a process that he had to go through for his own journey. Because you have to remember that when everybody passes, only the body falls away. Their soul is like steam. It gravitates to where it's meant to go to. And everybody has their own individual way of passing and their own journey thereafter, depending on what it is that they need to achieve in their soul. So for Simons, it was very definite because I didn't know this book was to come. And it was at least 4 years after he passed. He'll be gone 9 years this year. It was at least 4 years after he passed that I had a message from upstairs would I please write a book with him? And I said, yes, but I couldn't imagine what we would write about, because at this point I didn't know that he actually did start to believe just before he passed, but I didn't know that. I had it confirmed afterwards, after I found out through the channeling of the book. He had spoken to a couple of people about it, that he was questioning. So the time that he passed, only a couple of weeks before that, he'd started to question. So the book came through. So the book has come through for a couple of reasons. It's come through, to prove that life continues, and it had to be in his words, because it's not very often you write a book when most of the people within that person's life are still alive, because it's a sensitive topic. So Simon was a very forceful character, very big character. So if anybody was going to prove that this was real, Simon would, and he has. And it had to be authentic. It had to be authentic, because the people he knew would have seen through it, but also because only in truth and authenticity is the energy itself felt by the reader. The reader, this is a relationship between the reader and their own life, and Simon asks the questions and opens the doors for them, and he helps them understand and explore the life they've had. So this book has come through also because Simon's not the only person who's passed early, who didn't believe and didn't know. This book contains a lot of information that those who have passed wish they would have known while they were here, which would have helped them make more sense of their life. It would have helped them understand their life more. Mm-hmm. And it would have made this life something that makes sense.
Absolutely. And then I tell you what, that is, that honesty came through very, 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 very soon, very, very early at the couple of first pages at the beginning. And then how that honesty, just him realizing that he was not honest with himself. And then it's not that just he was not honest with the world outside, but then with himself. And then in that sense, you really got the sense what he was experiencing, and then how the whole way of how he was thinking about everything has changed. And then, to be honest, I was really taken by those points when it was not just him, but when he met his family and friends, that people, and even with the different layers, when he was describing, as he was taking his journey, meeting different groups of people, that the sensation was that if they had known what they knew, what they learned, they would have lived their lives differently. And then having that conversation that, yes, we can't go back. The body is gone. Life continues. And then actually, yes, also the sense that life continues. But then it was so profound for me to feel that basically everybody, if I had known better, I wished. So there were a lot of sentences beginning with those phrases. Now it's I don't know if you want to say anything about, because anything about the actual journey, what he took, or the different places.
I won't say that, because I want the reader to experience this themselves, okay? But I will say to you that there is a definite reason for this book. You have to remember that when we pass, and we never know when our moment will be, we can be very young, we can be very old. But as soon as we've passed, our book is closed. There is no more we can do on this journey to change it in any way. You have to remember that when we birth here, we do so with amnesia. We don't have any knowledge of the afterlife. But you also have to remember that life is eternal. So if we're eternal, it isn't only from this life forward that we live, It's from this life before that we lived as well. So the whole string of life is like many chapters, and being here is one single chapter. So of course, when the body falls away, you go back home to spirit, and you suddenly remember, you realize, you don't become all-knowing, you pick up the knowledge that you've gained so far to date, and you reassess your soul journey, your karmic purpose. But there's another reason for that too, because the whole nature of life is always about evolving. We came here to Earth, to life, in this time frame for a specific reason. If we don't hit that reason by the time we pass, then we can live, it's possible to live a whole lifetime and never move forward. It's possible to live and struggle on this earth, but have only to live and struggle, not to have gained anything from it. Karma isn't there for us to be brought down by. It's there for us to overcome, to get the gifts contained within it to help us move forward. Because if we do indeed come back many times, and there are people that will say, I will never come back. You know, we are discussing things now that are beyond normal mediumship. This is beyond Auntie Mary coming through to say hello, or your grandmother coming through to say that she loves you. This is a higher level again. The people that we know and love come through not just to say hello. We have to ask, why is it that they are trying so hard to reach us? It's not only to tell us that they know us, they're alive and well, and that they know what we're doing. Why are they not off on a jolly? Why are they not off enjoying themselves? They are trying to prove to us 100% that life continues. Now, if life continues, what does that mean? That also means that everything we've achieved here, we take with us. We take with us our hopes, our dreams, our goals, our achievements, and the things we've done wrong and left behind. And all of that we reassess when we go home, back home to heaven, and then that determines whether or not we're able to move forward, whether we have to stay in that middle level, or whether we have to come back, or we decide to come back and try again quickly, because we don't want to go backwards. So by having some of this information now, it will stop some of the toing and froing where souls are reborn so quickly. And what it will do is it will free up body space for higher developed souls to come through to help join us here, so we grow quicker, faster, easier, because together we're birthing heaven on earth, and that's what it's about.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You know, I feel that you have already covered quite a lot, you know, and then it's really that just reading the book where we can have the sensation that what it really means, you know, and then how it is resonating with us. And then, to be honest, this is what I was actually feeling, because I started reading the book, and then of course I'm curious because it's a channeled material. I'm curious because that person actually belonged to a person I know. And then at the same time, I realized, you know, quite early I realized that, yes, I'm listening, I'm reading the text as a teacher, as a therapist, as a medium. But then quite soon I realized that we can't have, we have to put those labels, those identities, those egos to the side, and then just having a very, very open mind and open heart to really feel what the book is, the material is saying. And then what I realized is that I told you this, that I did not expect that my soul, as a reader, as an individual reader, my soul is reflecting something which might have been, or which was still, or which had been still hidden from my consciousness. And then it's in the sense that, yes, I'm saying it's that this person's experience But then if I'm experiencing it, means that other people are experiencing it as well, one way or another, because our stories are just so very different, but at the same time, they are the same. We've got the same stories. So I don't know how you feel, but then for me, the invitation for the audience is that really have open mind and open heart and really look after yourself while you are reading the book. Try to read it from the front to the back, and then as one unit. You read it as one unit as much as possible, and then just allow anything which needs to come forward and surface, whether it is in your daytime reality or it is in your dream state. Because this is what I realized. One morning I woke up while I was reading the book, and I clearly remember the dream, the meaning, and not because I wanted to find the answer or the solution for something, but then just by reading the book, it brought up something in my soul. And then the learning is that it's good that I don't remember, because we don't have to remember. So it's all really, yes, I want to understand things, but then it's really going for the how I am feeling and how I am allowing to have that sensation of my soul experiencing something, you know. And then just like how he was saying, that how he reflected that, yes, I'm going through different stages. I visit this place and that I'm doing this, but then the teaching was that everybody's journey is very different. And then he was emphasizing that this is his journey. And then in that, at the same time, we can feel that, yes, that was my journey, how I was reading the book, but then we just have to be open that everybody will get something else out of the book. And then it's really, it's in a way that I'm learning something. And then I was actually already thinking about whom I could give the book to, you know, or get the book to, because it's something what it is a book not to be understood, but really to be felt, and not to be felt with our three-dimensional senses, but then really being felt on our soul level, you know. And then we quite a lot of us on this in this reality, we are really we might say we are victims, we don't want to deal with that, or, you know, I'm absolutely fine, I have dealt with it. But if it's still coming up, there is, I feel, and there is still something to do. And I feel that in that sense, it is quite remarkable, because from the point where he is, and then how he's viewing his own life, and then the rest of us, there is a very, very major, there's a huge learning there. And then also, I don't know if you would like to say something about how we can reflect about the soul's journey as we are experiencing our reality right now.
Well, you have to remember that life communicates with us every second, every moment. My other books behind me, they are like a telephone link directly to the universe to give you instant guidance based on what you're feeling, what you're thinking, what you're needing. Life itself is trying to communicate the whole of our life, because it wants to create with us simultaneously. So Simon's book and all my work actually makes this life that we're living the most important, but we need to live it in a divine soul conscious way, where we see creation and creativity everywhere, running through everything, trying to assist us.
Absolutely. And it really made me feel that actually life is about being. Yes. And it's not just because I'm trying to being certain ways, but then because I am just surrendering to what the soul wants to or needs to experience within this lifetime. And it's, yes, it's easy to talk about, it's easy to say, but then I feel it's everyone's own experience, how we are reading and understanding or feeling into the book. So yes,
you have to remember that the whole objective of living is to be present in the now. Nature takes care of its own, and we are part of nature. The soul already knows what it came here to achieve. Life is trying to provide that to us, and it can only do that when we surrender in the moment that we're in and we work with it.
Absolutely. Stephanie, thank you very much for joining us here, because 30 seconds left. Thank you very much. The invitation is for everybody, please find Stephanie's link and then all her books and all her teachings and all Spirit's teachings, universal teaching here. So we are coming to the very end of our talk. The time goes very quickly, well, it goes as it goes. But Stephanie, thank you very much for being here. And I'm really hoping to see you back another time so we can organize that as well. And then for the rest of us, thank you very much for being here and just feeling into your souls, just that is a journey. That is a journey. Enjoy it. Thank you very much and see you next week. Thank you.